To be honest, the only reason I went to Rome was to spend more time with my family. I thought I knew this place well enough from pictures and history books, so I didn't have any expectations, but I was more than surprised. Here's an honest look at the city so you know about the things you can definitely skip to save some money and some other things you have to be aware of. Now, we booked an Airbnb close to the middle of the old city, and this is where I began to understand that just being in Rome is kind of an insane experience in and of itself. The amount of old buildings and the ancient look feels like something taken out of an elaborate movie set. It's very surreal. Walking along the streets, you can quickly see some of the more touristy places. Now, even though I have traveled my entire life, I don't think I remember ever going to a place as crowded as Rome. We thought we were being smart by going here in spring before the big holiday season, but the crowds were still insane. Since the entire city acts as a museum, it's very busy. It feels like everywhere you go, it's completely full of people. One of our first stops was of course the Pantheon, and you can already see a running theme here. Long lines, which I personally don't mind, and of course it's more than worth it, but they're so absurdly long it's like something out of a cartoon. But it only took a couple of minutes until we were inside. This dome feels like something made for a picture book and is one of the largest unreinforced domes in the world. After that, I definitely needed a break from the swarm of people, so I decided to walk along the river running through the city. You can take some steps down and walk right along the Tiber. This was one of the most peaceful and relaxing things that I probably did during that entire trip. But where I really wanted to go and where this was headed was this place, the Rose Gardens. Offering an absolutely spectacular view of the city, you can stroll through some beautiful greenery and flowers. But if you think of Rome, one of the things you're definitely picturing is the Colosseum, and just arriving in front of this place is a whole experience on its own. This is really where I personally think you're going to get one of the most impressive views of the building. When we went inside, this place was insanely full. One thing I recommend is just taking your time a little bit, as the longer you go around, the more it starts to thin out. You can get a full round tour of these ruins before exiting, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, but honestly, I don't think you need to go inside. If so, go in the gladiator tunnels instead. Compared to the regular inside ring, I think the outside is far more beautiful, and of course, when you think of the Colosseum, you think of the shape of the building, not the view from within. Now, one thing that apparently gets underestimated by most people is the Forum right next to the Colosseum, and I really did as well. It's absolutely massive and features so many beautiful spots that it's easy to get lost in it. It feels like walking through a large park with these really historically significant specks throughout. But sadly, it was already time to go somewhere else. Now, while I was there, I really wanted to face one of my fears and try something I've never done before. I decided to book a helicopter tour. A little overpriced and a really long wait, but that's how it usually is with these event-type experiences. When we went to the actual machine that would take us in the air, I got a little nervous as it was really small, but the pilot was relaxed and easygoing, so it definitely helped me with my confidence. The view was insane. Surprisingly, a helicopter, not scary at all. However, one thing to note is that you can't actually go over the places like the Colosseum, which is probably a good thing. I was really thankful that wherever we went, there was no noisy helicopters or anything like that. So you're really only flying around the city. But if you bring some binoculars or a really long telephoto lens, this can definitely be elevated a lot. Otherwise, this is only about the experience itself. The following day, we went to the Vatican. I took one of those scooter things, which feel really out of place because you're in this ancient setting cruising around in this bright lime green thing. The line here was probably the longest of all, but if you book it ahead of time, you can skip, I would say probably 90 to 95% of the line. Once inside, you can go on a tour of this massive complex. Sadly, I didn't capture it on camera, but the tour guides showing people around sort of started arguing and yelling at each other about who was allowed to show what, while we were all just standing by watching, being a little confused. Now, what will instantly stand out is how much insanely valuable art there is inside here. countless sculptures, paintings, carpets, artifacts, painted walls, everything. It's so much that it has a strange numbing effect since you can't really concentrate on anything, simply because of the sheer amount of it. Every single corner of this place would be enough to fill an entire floor of a museum. To put it into perspective, there are numerous Salvador Dali paintings hidden in the back on the way to the Sistine Chapel that nobody bothers to look at. So for the best experience, I would say maybe read up on some of the things you really want to see here, and then focus your view on a handful of things instead of trying to take it all in. Filming inside the Sistine Chapel isn't allowed, so of course I didn't. That didn't stop others from filming and photographing with flash, but I try to respect that. Arguably the most ridiculous thing I saw was the Trevi Fountain. Holy cow, there were a lot of people, and this space is really small, so it's extra crowded. I was told that it's actually pretty easy to get a good view with few people around, but it requires you to be there earlier in the morning. Personally, I'm okay with large crowds, so it didn't bother me, but I do want to give you an honest look at what it's like. We got some good pictures and took it all in before heading off to dinner. The next day, we went to the Altar della Patria, whose scale I also underestimated. This majestic block offers a really nice, large spot of shade, which acts as a break from the heat that you might experience. It offers numerous spots for great views, especially at the top. I didn't go because we were just about to leave, but it's really the scale of this thing that gets to you. The camera I had with me has a really wide-angle lens, and still it just barely fits inside the frame on the widest setting. One other thing, even though the temperature technically isn't that hot, it definitely feels much hotter than it actually is. If you can't handle heat, I wouldn't recommend doing a giant walking tour of the city. Seriously, sunscreen, sunglasses, water, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, then it was already time to take back off into the rain. I hope you learned something. If you liked it, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video.